Hello, my name is Jay Nelson. I work here at the University of Minnesota in the Office of Information Technology and the Technology Training and Usability Services. And I'll be the instructor for this online version of the Drupal Content Contributor class. This is an introductory presentation. It is a very short, condensed version of the Drupal orientation, but hopefully it will serve to orient you into Drupal at the University of Minnesota. Drupal is an open source content management system. You can go to the website drupal.org and read about it. You can download the software to your own computer. You can mess around with it all you want to on your computer if you wanted to. It is not necessary, and no one actually will be doing any of that. But if you are curious as to what Drupal is, you can go and find it. Drupal is a content management system, and there are all kinds of content management systems that we interact with on a daily basis. Some of us more than others, but we all do in some sense. Content management systems are just systems for managing content. At the University of Minnesota, the previous enterprise content management system for websites was Content, and it was used to create websites. Drupal is the replacement content management system. There are other content management systems that we interact with. For example, Gmail is a system for managing email content. Google Docs and Drive is a system for managing productivity documents. Facebook is a content management system. You go to Facebook and type in your content in the status box, and then Facebook manages that content and displays it. So we interact with content management systems. If you boil it down, they all look very similar to this diagram. At the heart of a content management system is just a gigantic content database. Letters and words and paragraphs and sound files and pictures, maybe movies and Word documents, etc., etc., etc. And then surrounding the content database are tools to interact with the content and the people that generate and use the content. So at the top are author and editing tools, and that's where our focus is entirely in this class, is on the authoring and editing tools. There are tools for displaying content and presenting the content on a website. There's tools for organizing the content, and then there's additional tools for managing people and the permissions and what they can do in the website. Those other three boxes, the organizational tools, display and presentation, and user and permission tools, are covered in great depth in the Drupal Creating and Managing Websites face-to-face course. As I said, this course we're focusing entirely on the authoring and editing tools. Drupal at the university is a centrally supported enterprise content management system. There's a large community of people using Drupal, both on campus, throughout the university environment, the coordinate camp, there's a large group of people. 3, 2, 1. Drupal at the university is centrally supported. What that means is OIT will be responsible for maintaining the Drupal environment. There's a large community on campus that is using Drupal and has a wealth of knowledge. You can find more information by going to the it.umn.edu website. Palantir was the consultants that the university brought in to set up and organize the Drupal environment at the university. They started off with the stock Drupal download from drupal.org, and then they customized it and tailored it to fit the university environment. Drupal is a hosted solution. It is software as a service, and the host that the university is using is Acquia. You can find more information about that by going to the it.umn.edu website and accessing the collaboration services, specifically the Drupal service. There's information on the Moodle website that has the links to that content. I'm going to do just a very quick Drupal at a glance. Drupal is role-based, and out of the box there are a handful of roles already defined in Drupal. So depending on who you are in your website, you might be able to only create new content. You're a content contributor, but you don't have the privilege to publish the content. There's editors, they just have a little bit more access and responsibilities than the content contributors, and it works all the way up to site administrators. Drupal, as we will see as we work through it, is very robust and very customizable. These are the out-of-the-box defined roles, but every website can go and create more roles or get rid of roles that they don't need. So for example, if it's my silly little website that's only about 10 or 15 pages long, I don't need to create all these roles for myself. I would do all my work as the site administrator. Or you might be in a really large website like it.umn.edu where there's a whole bunch of different types of content contributors. Some people have the barest responsibilities. They can only do a couple things at most. And then there might be a whole bunch of different editor roles that are defined. So Drupal is customizable, but it is role-based. You have a certain role in Drupal, and those are the permissions that you have. This course, we're focusing primarily on creating content for the content contributors. The process is very simple. Log in, choose what type of content you're creating, news, faculty page, course page, fill out a form, and then do something as step 4. Either you save it, if you have the ability to publish, you can click the publish button, you can review it before you publish, etc. So that's a simple process. Drupal is form-based. You're continually filling out forms. So here are some screenshots. I've logged in. I've gone to the Add New Content page. I choose a new faculty type, and then I fill out a form. And that form is just populating the content database, and then the presentation tools allow that content to be displayed in different ways depending on where the visitor is. On the left-hand side, the content is being displayed in a faculty directory, so it just has the smaller picture and just the short biography and some contact information. On the right-hand side, the same content is displayed in a different way because this is the full faculty page, so it has the faculty person's name at the top, the bigger picture, and then the longer biography. So I just created one piece of content for Goldie Gopher, and it's displayed in many different ways depending on where I am in the website. Just to briefly cover layout and design in Drupal, there are 4 layers to a web page in Drupal, generically speaking. You start off with the theme, which contains the header and footer information, the university branded logo at the top, the copyright regions at the bottom, maybe some other additional information. Inside the theme, there is a panel, or maybe there might be multiple panels depending on how the page is constructed. This example has just one panel. Inside that panel, it's further broken up into different regions, and each of those regions is further segregated into panes. And the panes are where the content actually is placed. We're not working with layout in this class at all. Again, that's covered in great depth in the Creating and Managing Websites face-to-face course. But we'll interact with the layout as we're creating our content and see how it fits into the page. So the panes are where content are, and the panes can contain different types of views of that content. And here's just a simple screenshot of the Discover website to give you an idea. So at the top you can see the header and footer at the bottom, and then you squint your eyes and you can see the panel, one big panel, and then the panel is made up of a bunch of regions. There's the hero image at the top in the region, and then the bottom regions are broken up into different content panes. Over in the lower right is the social media pane. There's some little snippets of news articles scattered around. So you see how Drupal is laid out. Drupal is also responsive. Our layouts, all the university's layouts in Drupal are fully responsive, and what that means is the website will change depending on the visible area of the viewer. What I mean by that is some people might be coming to your website using a full big monitor on their computers, nice 23-inch monitor. Some people will be visiting your website on a tablet device, and some people will be visiting your website using a cell phone, a smartphone. And so as you're working in Drupal, it's a good practice to always be resizing your browser window so that you see how the content flows at different resolution sizes. So have your screen browser be full screen on your computer, and then periodically just resize it, make it skinnier, narrower, and see how the content flows. So that's the overview of Drupal at the University of Minnesota. As I said at the beginning, it's a very generic overview. We didn't go into great depths because we want to start playing with Drupal itself. But if you do have any questions about that, please go to the Moodle forum for course questions and start posting your questions there. Thank you very much, and I will see you again shortly.